As House Republicans conducted a private deposition of Hunter Biden, CNN conducted what was probably the best interview I've ever seen from them, in which reporter Boris Sanchez confronted and relentlessly debunked and fact-checked a Republican congressman who was peddling conspiracy theories about the Bidens. It was glorious. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, friends, we have several clips to play in this video. Again, today is when Hunter Biden was deposed. There's a lot in terms of content for today pertaining to the impeachment inquiry against President Biden and just the entire Hunter Biden scandal, right? And MAGA Republicans continuing to embarrass themselves. But here, out of nowhere, CNN gave a masterclass performance. This is basically the embodiment, in my opinion, of responsible journalism. And Boris Sanchez might be actually superseding, might be surpassing Caitlin Collins on CNN, and she has been doing wonderfully. But Sanchez might be the MVP now. He is confronting Tim Burchett, a Republican congressman, about the Biden impeachment inquiry, about the Hunter Biden conspiracy theories and Hunter Biden scandals, and it's just awesome. So we're going to play the clips and unpack them together.
So I'll go back to my question. How much money specifically are you alleging that Vice President Joe Biden made off of his son's business dealings when he was in the White House?
I don't know, but if it's $1, he's lied about it. And you got to ask, what was the influence there? What is the brand? The brand is the Biden family. The brand is, they're not selling a service. They're not selling a product. He has no qualifications for this. The only reason he was there because he was Joe Biden's son or he was Joe Biden's brother. And that money flowed through. I mean, the money, you followed it, and it flowed even to minor children in the family. Now, what qualifications do they have? No, come on. I know you're CNN, but the reality is,
sir,
you can't look at this money. You cannot look at this.
Let's make this about the facts, sir.
No,
let's make this about the facts.
Well, this is the facts. You cannot make this.
You're again making an assertion.
You keep saying the money down. You keep saying the money, then you say, well, only $5 million. Well, does that make it okay then? But $20 million.
Sir, there's a huge distinction. Pardon me, sir.
There's
a huge distinction. There's a huge distinction between whether it's appropriate for the family of a president to make money off of his name and whether that's ethical. But the question is specifically about what Joe Biden did when he was in office in vice president, whether he abused his power or whether he enriched his family members. And right now, there is zero evidence coming from the Oversight Committee that when he was vice president, he did either of those things.
There's $20 million that flowed through. You saw these accounts.
That's incorrect, sir. The bank records don't reflect that.
No, sir.
They don't specifically say. I looked at the bank records. They don't say that Joe Biden got any money from them. Have you read the bank records? Because they don't list Joe Biden's name. I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to let you say things that are untrue, sir.
So, sir, the truth is that $20 million flowed through this family, whichever way it went. There's no records of taxes being paid. Statutes have run, and you're saying that
is
okay.
a talking point that you've repeated, but it is not actually what's in the bank records, sir. What's in the bank records is that $15 million of that money never even went to the Biden family. The other $5 million, there is exactly zero indication
where did that $15
that it went to
million
Joe
go
Biden.
to?
Again, a masterclass performance. A couple of things that Sanchez was not able to push back on, but number one, Burchett says, listen, if there was $1 that went to Joe Biden, it was $1 too much and Biden would have lied about it. Okay, well, you actually have to prove that dollar went to Joe Biden, and you haven't, number one. Number two, this idea that Hunter Biden is a Nepo baby, that he engaged in nepotism. Yes, that's probably true, but that's very common. By the way, it's very common among the Trump family, and the Republicans have absolutely no concern about that whatsoever, to say nothing of the fact that Trump children and daughters and sons-in-laws actually had positions within the federal government. Again, they don't care about these things. But beside which, Devin Archer, Hunter Biden's business associate who was supposed to provide the damning evidence, the smoking gun testimony late last year, he said that Hunter Biden was actually an expert, that Hunter Biden was a lobbyist, that Hunter Biden was an attorney, that he had relevant skills and experience that justified his participation in Burisma. So this idea that, Hunter Biden had no business whatsoever making the money that he did is simply untrue. And again, note the goalpost shift. The Biden family flowed through the Biden family. Well, The Biden family isn't vice president. The Biden family isn't president. Joe Biden is president. You have to prove Joe Biden's guilt and prove that Joe Biden used authority inappropriately. You haven't done that. But again, they constantly move the goalposts. And again, I just want to remind you, the standard for impeachment is treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. They haven't even come close. But again, the sparks continue to fly between Sanchez and Burchett in this next clip.
Exactly zero
where did
indication
that $15
that it went to
million
Joe
go
Biden.
to? Where did that money go to then?
To Devin Archer and other business associates related to President Biden. There's over 20 shell corporations. Why would you set up a shell corporation that had absolutely nothing? There's actually evidence from the Oversight Committee that those corporations had legitimate business dealings. You may define them as shell corporations the way that you see it.
Then what are they?
Some of them were consulting firms. Some of them were lobbying firms.
No, they weren't. Listen, if you want to do the interview, you just do the interview. But you're asking me a question. I'm trying to give you an answer, but
you're not giving me an honest answer, sir. You're repeating a talking point that has been debunked repeatedly. Have you read the bank records? Have you seen the bank records?
I have seen.
Do they say Joe Biden's name on them?
They say Hunter Biden's name, and what was the
product he wasn't vice president.
Influence to the big guy.
He wasn't vice president.
Gave name, dates. Tony Bobulinski gave name, dates, times, and places.
Tony Bobulinski,
and those were pretty.
The question about the big guy.
See, you know.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say that he gave very damning testimony, and all you all want to focus on is one little grain of sand in a huge beach that has absolutely nothing to do with the final outcome. The truth is, $20 million flowed through this family.
That's
in one
false,
shape,
sir.
form, or fashion or another. They had, sir, it is not.
So again, what cracks me up is listen, the bank records, the financial documents show that these things are not shell companies, that they actually had legitimate business function. No, they didn't. Again, no proof whatsoever, no actual substantive or sophisticated refutation to the contrary. Then again, he continues to move the goalpost. $20 million flowed through this family. Well, again, as Sanchez points out, okay, 15 million of it did not go to the Biden family. And of the 5 million that did, you have no evidence, none, that any of it went to Joe Biden. And of the 5 million that did go to the Biden family, you have no evidence that Joe Biden did anything inappropriate when he was president or vice president. Right? You need both of these things. You need a direct connection to Joe Biden, and you need proof that Joe Biden did something corruptly. You have no evidence of that. But again, the constant goalpost shift. But I love the fact that, again, Boris Sanchez keeps pushing back and just relentlessly fact-checking as politely as possible. One last clip.
Why would banks literally send memos out that say they have no product, we have to be careful of this, we need to get shy of this? Why would they send those out? Why would banks do that? You're focusing on one little thing and you're not looking at everything else.
Sir, I honor the idea that there are questions about whether it is ethical and appropriate for the family members of an elected official to profit off of something, but I also dispute the fact that we're focused on a grain of sand. I want to get to the point about these bank investigators, because you're talking about an email from 2018 that was sent out that Republicans shared that was about banks looking into a deal struck by Hunter Biden with this Chinese firm. The email that Republicans shared that came from these people overseeing this deal was actually the last page of a 4-page document. And earlier in that document, I'm sure you've read it, I hope you have, they quote, saying that the business activity is reasonable and consistent, also that they do not see any signs of bribery. So what you're citing is actually only a small piece of something that overall by senior investigators was declared to be a legitimate business enterprise.
So you see, Burchett is actually guilty of the very thing he just accused CNN and others of doing. You're focusing on a grain of sand and not the wider beach or whatever the metaphor was. Well, Sanchez just hit him with that too. You have cherry-picked a single segment of a single report, and the vast majority of which actually indicated that these businesses had legitimate business function, that they had a legitimate purpose, undermining the talking point that they're shell companies. So just a masterclass performance from CNN. Folks, this is how reporting should be. It's not, just allowing the other person to run roughshod when they're clearly peddling lies and debunked conspiracy theories. Yes, you want to be as polite as possible, and I think Sanchez did that. He wasn't condescending. He wasn't rude. He addressed him as sir. He tried to smile and use a gentle tone not to spook Burchett off. Burchett was the one actually making insults. Yeah, I know you're CNN, but the civility, the intersection of civility and persistent journalistic ethics met at Boris Sanchez, and it was an incredible performance all the way. This is the standard for journalism that I'd like to see moving forward. Let me know what you think in the comments.